Hi, everybody. Welcome to week 8. This is my probably last little lecture for Humanities 104. Today I'm going to talk about the assignments that are going to be due for the rest of the term, the last few weeks here. I'm also going to talk about the mock interviews and the art of interviewing a little bit, and also about professionalism on the internet, in your interviews, and in your behavior on your new job. So let's go ahead and get started, I guess. First of all, let me also remind you, if you have any questions at all, any concerns, please shoot me an email. Let me know. I can meet with you over the phone, through Zoom, email, whatever works for you. But if you have any concerns, please let me know. There's a couple of you who still owe me some work, and you need to get that in so you don't lose any more points. Okay, you want to make sure you get those assignments in. Okay, so, and then talking about assignments, here we go. Next week, the 13th of May, Wednesday, your final portfolios are due. Now, because of the circumstances and the situation we're in, your portfolios are going to be a different animal or beast than they would be if we were meeting in class every week. What I will need from you is for you to upload to my IoT your final drafts for your cover letter, your resume, your references, your thank you letter, and your job application. In the email that I sent out to accompany this video and giving you the link, I have listed all of those things there as well, and it is in your outline. So you need to make sure that you look at the suggestions that I sent you, do any revising to make this your best effort, and then upload those items to me, and I will grade them all together as a portfolio. So you want to make sure you get every component into me, okay? Make sure you double check the list in the email and on the outline. Now, next week, there's also an assignment due. It's usually a presentation in class where you stand up and talk about 3 of your strengths and 3 of your weaknesses. And this is, again, practice for your final mock interview. Unfortunately, that's not going to be able to work this term because of our circumstances. So what I will need you to do is just type up a short paper where you describe and talk in detail, provide some examples of 3 of your strengths and 3 of your weaknesses. And this will be good preparation for your mock interview because you will undoubtedly want to bring these things up in your interview, and you would probably be asked about them. Okay, so this is going to be good practice, sort of to put your thoughts together around that. So that will be a paper where you describe 3 of your strengths, 3 of your weaknesses, give some details and examples. Okay. Let's see here. I'm going to follow up this week with suggestions for any revising that you may need to do for your references and thank you letters, so you can look at that before you finalize that and send that in to me next week. So be watching for an email from me to you personally about that. Okay. Also, in ATI, make sure that you complete all of the required modules. Many of you already have. Awesome. This will impact your grade on your final professional performance standards. You have to be able to account for that time, and all of you have who have been on there. It's great. I can check and make sure what you've completed and what has been done. So make sure what you need to do is make sure that you're getting it done, and you should have all of them done by now. And I will, again, in the email link that I'm sending you, I will re-emphasize what those modules were so you'll know. For this week, too, you want to make sure that you read the information in week 8 for Humanities 104. In my IoT, the section on nonverbal communication. And I'm going to talk a little bit about this while referring to that handout. You need to look at that because it'll give you some really great information, again, to help you prepare and think about your mock interview in a couple of weeks. And actually, let's talk then too, real quickly, about the mock interviews. So far, what I'm thinking we're going to do is we're going to run most of them week 10. If I run out of time and we're not able to schedule everyone for week 10, we may bleed into week 11, but I'd like to have these done before your finals so you don't have to worry about it. So I'm going to be working on that this week and setting that up. You will hear from me, and I will be asking you, can you do an interview on Zoom? If not, could you do an interview on the phone? And the phone would not be a great choice because obviously we want to be able to see your nonverbal cues and body language and how you present yourself and all of that. I'm going to talk about that in just a minute. So we need to try to make this work on Zoom if we can. Zoom is free. You can download it on your phone, and then you've got the camera and the microphone right there. It's awesome. You can just use it right off your phone, or you could also download it onto your desktop computer, whatever, or a laptop, whichever is easiest for you. They will be in small groups. I'm not sure how many will be in a group, and I will conduct the interview then over Zoom with 4 of you, 5 of you. I'm not sure exactly how that's going to work out yet. I will begin scheduling that and communicating with you to let you know. If you have any issues with Zoom, please shoot me an email as soon as possible and let me know that so that we can see what other options are available to us. Okay? All right. Okay. I was just telling you, too, to read the information on nonverbal communication in week 8 in my IoT. And I just want to talk about that for a few minutes because when you go into your interview, you are communicating information and ideas to the interviewer or interviewers in a variety of ways. And one of the primary ways is either verbally or non-verbally. Nonverbal communication, as you're probably aware, all those body signals that we give, and they often convey more information than what we're actually saying. And sometimes people form their first impressions just on what they observe in your behavior, how you hold yourself, your posture, etc. And if your nonverbal cue doesn't agree or isn't consistent with the verbal cues you're giving, let's say you're answering yes while shaking your head no, that's an issue. And that can be very confusing and would need clarification. So you want to make sure that you're consistent, that your body language is reinforcing the information that you're verbally communicating. So facial expressions, body movement and posture, gestures, eye contact, touch, space, voice, your tone of voice, how quickly you speak, how friendly do you sound? Are you inviting? Do you sound like you're someone that the interviewer can relate to, etc.? All of those things are highly important. Now, one of the best things that you can do to manage your nonverbal communication is to be able to manage stress in the moment. Because oftentimes our nonverbal cues reveal that we are feeling or experiencing stress even though we're talking in a more calm manner. You want to develop emotional awareness. And I think some of you may have heard of emotional IQ. That's kind of what we're talking about. And I suggest Google that, and there's information in my IoT and Humanities about some of this. Take a look at that. And one thing that I would recommend is if you have a problem with stress, especially in a situation like an interview, a test, and so on, start a practice of mindfulness meditation. It's really very simple. It helps to center you. It helps you to manage that stress. Get plenty of exercise and sleep. That also helps. But if you find that you are feeling stressed in the moment when you're about to walk into that interview, figure out some kind of tools that enable you to center and calm yourself. I always ground myself. This may sound a little woo-woo, but I've had some great experiences with it, and it's really a good tool for getting yourself settled and centered. What I like to do is I like to stand up, or if I have to sit, I really become aware of the soles of my seat sitting on the floor and how my feet are connecting to the floor. And then I visualize that the soles of my feet are opening, and I send the energy, all that nervous energy that I'm feeling, down through my legs and down through my feet into the ground. Let the earth absorb your stress. After a few moments of that, you will feel more connected to the earth, and hopefully you will also feel more calm, cool, and collected. There's a variety of other tools. If this is something of interest to you, let me know, and I'd be more than happy to talk to you about that or provide more information on this kind of thing. But that is definitely, even just 10 minutes a day really helps to get rid of the clutter and the stress and all of that. If you can meditate or ground, to do something that gets you centered. And it's really good to be able to pull something up like that when you're feeling stressed in the moment. Another good tool is to observe the room around you. What colors do you see? Start to observe the details in the room. How many books are in the room? How many desks or chairs? What color are the walls, etc.? What color is the carpet? By just noticing these details in the tangible world around you can help bring you back down and ground you as well. So there's another technique. So anyway, that's something you need to think about because we all get nervous in interviews. I get nervous before I do these lectures, so I'm grounding even as I'm talking to you. As far as observing the nonverbal cues of others, the one thing you really want to look at is, are there any inconsistencies like I was talking about earlier? Are they saying yes and shaking their head no? Are they saying one thing but their body seems to be saying another? You want to pick up on those cues. It'll help you then to relate to that other person in a more meaningful way. Now, the art of interviewing. And I'll bet you every single one of you have been at least through a few interviews in your time. So this is probably more of a review than anything else. And hopefully you'll have some pointers on how to best conduct yourself in the mock interviews that we'll be doing. So first of all, you want to think about your nonverbal communication, as we were just talking about. You want to be aware of that. You want to manage the stress you may be feeling given that particular moment and circumstance. Also in an interview, you obviously want to think about your appearance and you want to be dressed professionally. Casually professional is excellent and a good way to go. You just want to make sure that you are presenting yourself in an appearance that will do you justice and will serve you well as you try to work to get that job. So now you also want to think about soft skills. It's real easy to get caught up in the hard skills. I know how to do injections, blood draws, this, that, and the other thing. I know how to administer meds, whatever it might be. But the soft skills will often be the clincher and may determine whether or not you get a particular job. So there's been some information in my IoT about soft skills and hard skills. And here I just want to emphasize that soft skills, and you may be asked specifically about your soft skills, but they are primarily how do you interact with others? What is your level of professionalism? What kinds of intangible things do you bring? Are you reliable, dependable? Do you have good customer service skills? Are you able to interact with people effectively? Are you empathetic, if I could say the word? Do you have compassion? Those kinds of skills are so critically important in the nursing career. And those are things you want to think about and don't neglect them in your interview. Okay? There's also transferable skills. These are skills that maybe you learned on one job that you could easily transfer to another job and be able to utilize them. Customer service is a great example. You may learn customer service working at Subway. That same customer service then will serve you well as a nurse as you go into the healthcare field. All of healthcare is customer service at one level or another. And if you have those kinds of skills, you want to share with the interviewer what you have to offer. So things like customer service. Maybe you learned how to administer meds while working at a nursing facility. Whatever it might be, think about those skills that you have picked up that you know you could easily transfer into your new career. So look at your prior job experience. Think about the skills that you learned there. What can you take with you? Communication skills are also obviously vitally important. You want to be able to maintain eye contact. You want to speak clearly. And you want to be able to use PAR. PAR is an acronym for Problem, Action, Result. What you want to do before your interview, and you can anticipate the kinds of questions that you'll probably be asked, especially if you've been in many interviews before, you know the kinds of things that will be asked. Anticipate ahead of time. Are you a team player? What does it mean to work on a team? Well, to me, working on a team means this. For example, I was working on a team at this job, and we were required to do this, and by doing the following things, we were able to accomplish that task. What were your contributions to the team at the same time, etc.? You want to have examples like that because they will tell the interviewer more about you than just saying, I'm hardworking and I'm a good team player. I'm a good team player. I helped pull a team together when we were behind on a deadline, and we were able to get the job done because we did this, that, and the other thing. That's a lot more impressive, tells the interviewer so much about you. So what you want to do is, ahead of the interview, have 3, maybe 4 different examples fresh in your mind that you can come in and just pick them up at the drop of a hat. So tell me, what are 3 strengths that you have? Well, I'm hardworking, I'm reliable, and I have customer service experience. For example, when I was working at Subway, I had to deal with this customer complaint. And this is how I resolved it. Boom. You have just scored in that interview. I have been a business manager for 20 years. I have conducted literally hundreds, if not thousands of interviews, including lots of them right here at IoT. And the one thing that usually will clinch an interview for me is this use of problem, action, result. How much can you tell me about your actual experience? It says so much, and you'll be able to convey so much good information to the interviewer. So really think about that. It's something I look for in these mock interviews. Just keep thinking problem, action, result. Okay, what was the problem? What actions did I take? Did it resolve itself? Okay. Also, finally, ask questions at the end of the interview. This is really important because it really demonstrates your level of interest not only in your interviewer, but in the place where you want to work. You want to make sure you do some kind of study and research online or wherever you can get this information, maybe from a friend who works at Salem Clinic, and you can learn all about Salem Clinic. But before you interview with them, you want to have some background information and be able to ask some questions. I saw online that you have a career development program here at Salem Clinic. Could you tell me a little bit more about that? Wow. That would be another great way to clinch the interview and to make sure that you get that job. So have 2, maybe 3 questions that you can ask at the end of the interview at the drop of a hat. And not questions like, how much vacation do I get? Or when do I get my first raise? You don't want to bring those things up at that particular time. After you're hired, ask those questions all you want. But in the interview, what you want to do is ask questions about the job or the work that you would actually be doing. So what are your expectations for a brand new LPN in training? When should I be ready to do the following things? What are your standards? What do you look for in a successful job candidate? Who do you want to have working here at this clinic? And then hopefully you can follow up and say, well, hey, I've got those skills. I can do this, that, and the other thing for you. Okay, so you can always then follow up on the questions. Number 1, you're demonstrating your level of interest. And number 2, here's what I can do to fulfill those expectations that you may have. So be thinking about that. If you have any stumbling blocks as far as coming up with good questions, shoot me an email. I'll be happy to send you some examples. Okay? No problem there. Now, so that is in a nutshell the art of interviewing. What I would suggest is take another look, if you haven't already, at Professionalism, the handout in week 1 for Humanities 104 and My IoT. Read that again. That'll be really important to think about as you're preparing for your interview. How can you convey your level of professionalism? It's going to talk about appearance and behavior and all kinds of things, so you want to look at that. And that's also a really nice, excuse me, I'm sitting on a pillow so I can make sure I'm in the camera's line here, so bear with me, I hope I don't fall. You also want to go over the handout in this week's My IoT handouts. It's online professionalism. It might have been for week 7, excuse me. But it's really, really important for you to take a look at this. This is sometimes a difficult transition for students to make as they go from being a student into a professional. And that is your online professionalism and presentation. So you want to be careful about some certain things because everyone does pay attention to how you present yourself online, on Facebook, LinkedIn, or any of the other social media sites. So we're going to think about professionalism in your emails, doing an internet scrub, online networking, and how that can impact you as you begin your new career. So professionalism in email, you want to set up a professional email address. The cute little email address you had when you were young, that's great, but you want to be professional. You want to keep it simple, avoid your birth years. Remember, it's illegal for an employer to even ask about your date of birth. And use your first name, last name combos are usually the best. My private email is just my name at the domain. Email communication and business correspondence. You want to keep it professional when you're using email. Don't use emoticons. Think of it as a formal business letter, like your thank you letter or cover letter. You want to avoid acronyms and internet slang. No LOLs or OMGs, please. And you want to make sure you proofread your email before you send it out. If you are sending out a business email, something related to work, if you wouldn't want your supervisor to read it, don't send it. Because unfortunately, sometime your supervisor may actually see it. So you want to keep things professional on a consistent basis. You want to have a good, professional, short email name, hopefully easy to remember. Don't use emoticons or acronyms and jargon, and keep it at that level of professionalism. Now, as far as an internet scrub, it's funny, I've been watching some TV while I'm at home, and I've been seeing all of these ads for my reputation was shot online, and oh, it's been so horrible. I'm trying to recover my good reputation. You need to Google yourself. What would you find? Is there anything there that would be an embarrassment to you if a prospective employer Googled you? What will they find? You want to make sure that you are presenting nothing that could interfere with your ability to get that job. Facebook, check your privacy settings, review timelines, photos. Is there anything you want to delete and get rid of? Anything you might be embarrassed about now that was really funny 3 years ago? You need to look at that. Twitter, review your posts and photos and so on, and any other social networking that you've done. Take a good look, and if you feel like, hey, I need to get my reputation restored, there are obviously businesses that are willing to help you with that. As far as networking online, you've got several sources that could be beneficial. LinkedIn, in particular, could be a real benefit to you. You can build an online resume there, network with potential employers. It will support your job hunt and provide you with research tools. Twitter is another good one. You can create a professional account and follow potential employers in similar companies, so you'll know what they're tweeting about and what they're concerned about. Look at online job fairs, online job boards. You could also check, obviously, some of the job postings that might come up on Indeed.com or Monster, and then do research on those companies and who is there that maybe you could network with, that you can maybe share a LinkedIn with, etc. So those are some things that you need to consider regarding the level of professionalism you will attain in your new career. I hope this was helpful. I regret that we haven't had a chance to spend a lot of time in class together. I think we would have had some great conversations and been able to enjoy getting to know one another, and so I really regret that. I hope these lectures are helpful to you, and if you have any other needs or concerns, please feel free to email me, and we can connect. Okay. Thank you all very much, and take care. And please continue to stay safe and well.